You are not alone. There are over 7 billion people on Earth today, growing every day. So, how is it possible to feel alone when surrounded by 7 billion other people? Easy, because within our minds, within our thoughts, we are indeed alone. So what? Big deal. Who cares? Well, why does it matter? Because we were not meant to be alone. God took one of Adam's ribs to make woman so man would not be alone. Man and women were to be joined in marriage to become one, so they would have each other and never be alone. As you look out into the night sky, you have to wonder, are we alone? As you hear that airplane flying overhead, you have to realize there's a pilot, there's a crew, there's passengers. As you hear a car horn honk in the distance, you have to know there's a driver. As you hear people talk, you know they're out there in your neighborhood. You know you are not alone. Being alone is an ambiguous quandary. Come into this world alone, you leave this world alone. It's a big deal. Get used to it. Choice. We may not like to admit it, but almost everything in your life comes down to a choice you made, a decision you rendered, an option you picked, the call you didn't pick up, the IM you didn't respond to, the email you regret sending, the tone you did not intend to use, but did, the look you gave almost unconsciously, the touch you wanted to reach out and give, but didn't, the hug you wanted to give almost as much as you wanted to receive, the smile you knew would help, but all you could generate was an indifferent frown. Why? Choices. Imagine a menu that has two choices, spam and spam. Okay, how about spam and eggs? What if you don't like spam at all? Well, spam and eggs only has a little spam. Apologies to Monty Python, but sometimes even a little can seem like too much. Why? Is it too many choices or too few? Of course, some people are never happy. Is it the options or the reality of their choices? Happiness is ultimately based on your choices that will decide. If we choose to be happy, is it really that simple? Is attitude everything? Does it come down to attitude? Nothing can be that simple, right? Occam's razor explains the simplest answer is usually the right answer. So, what is the question? Loneliness, isolation, happiness? Who defines these terms and their meaning? Are they interrelated? Of course. Just like our environment, what we put into the air, put into the water, impacts our environment, our quality of life, the purity of our water, the cleanliness of our air. Have to have a balance, the yin and yang, the physical, the spiritual, the mental. Imagine a chef who cannot use salt, sugar, vinegar, pepper. How bland and tasteless would our food be? So what is the right combination? What is the right recipe? Well, perhaps the question is not what is available, but what are we trying to make? Won't what you are trying to make going to dictate the necessary ingredients? Certainly, of course, everyone knows that. Are there some recipes where a pinch is all that is required? and another where a full cup is required? Of course. Each of us are unique, so our recipe on any given day depends on what are we trying to make. Sometimes we try to make our spouse or partner happy, maybe our child, our pet, our boss, a neighbor, a sibling, or a parent. So the amount of salt, sugar, butter, flour required will change depending on our goal, the environment, the situation. Are there times we need to be alone? Of course. Trouble with the relationship. One must reflect, ponder, question, think on our own. Grieving the loss of a loved one, no one can address for us. We must resolve and live with that grief until we are ready to move on. No one else can take it away or mitigate it for us until we decide, until we are ready. Telescope only has one eyepiece. So as you can imagine, what you see, no one else can see at the exact same time. Unless that person was standing right next to you and their azimuth and elevation was set exactly the same as yours, their view will be different. So what if your view is different? That is to be expected. How boring would life be if all we had was spam and spam on the menu? What if we could all listen to was only opera? Or all that we could read, the only books were romance novels. And the only color clothing we could wear was red. Ugh, I don't even want to think about it. So what if one day you need to be alone, to think, to grieve, to rest and recover, to write, to dream, to create? Well, then just do it. But what if we are alone on purpose for no reason? We don't pick up the phone, and maybe we don't know why. We don't go out, and maybe we don't really know why. Well, now comes the choice. We can choose to continue self-isolation, or we can choose not to. Sounds easy, sounds simple, and while in principle it is, in practice, it is not. It's hard. Now with COVID-19 dictates isolation. COVID-19 dictates social distancing. COVID-19 makes it feel like we have no choices, but really, we still do. We can call, FaceTime, Zoom. We can IM, email, tweet, post. We can still wave at that neighbor walking their dog. We can still smile. You can give an air five, a thumbs up, an emoticon. We can still say hi and good morning and thank you and have a great day. They still hear you through a mask. We still can make choices, but we have to be open to possibilities. Possibilities are the ingredients to feed our imagination, and our attitude makes those possibilities taste good.